Hello, and welcome to our discussion panel on teaching and learning. I've invited a few community members to come and share their insight. And let's get started. Just introduce yourself and how long you've been teaching.
My name is Melanie Hollister, and I've been teaching for 30 years. 18 of those has been as a mentor teacher for the state of California. And uh, I'm not in a classroom right now, but I am teaching for lovely, adorable, smart, sassy little 4-year-old pre-K girls who keep me very busy. I'm doing it out of a home, not mine, but so it's a whole different, really different, but it's really cool. We spend most of our time outside, totally. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. As far as I got into teaching when I was my oldest son's room mom in kindergarten, and I just loved working with the children. And the teacher at the time really encouraged me um, to pursue that. And I also had my youngest one at the preschool that I worked at for 30 years. So I started taking child development classes because I have a BA in marketing, which doesn't do me any good right now. But but I had a BA, and I thought, okay, all I really need is my child development classes. So I went back, and as soon as I was done, a job opened up at the preschool. I taught in that classroom for 30 years in the same room. I taught 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and pre-K kids. So that's kind of how I got into it. I think teaching is kind of addictive. You either love it and can't do without it, like me, or you just do it because it's a job. And it's never been just a job for me. It's been a passion. It's been something that I always looked forward to doing every day because every day was different. You never knew what was kind of like Forrest Gump's chocolate box. You never knew what you were going to find. Um, but yeah, and then when I went on to become a mentor, that just opened up a whole new window of opportunity. And just these two lovely, all three of these lovely ladies on the screen with me are just a sample of some of the wonderful people I got to meet um, and grow as a teacher, mentoring the students at Miracosta. So that's been a huge plus for me.
Thank you very much. Who'd like to go next?
My name is Virginia DiPietro. I have been teaching for over 25 years. Right now, currently, I work at Magdalena Ecke Family YMCA Preschool, and I've been there for around 11 years. How I got started in teaching, it started when I was a little kid myself. I knew right away that I loved kids. In fact, I would pick up kids as big as me and think I was bigger than them. So from a very young age, I just knew I just love, little ones. So in elementary school, I started volunteering at my church for the Sunday school. And of course, I didn't have any training, so I was just an aide and helping out, and just loved it. And so in college, I knew right away what I wanted to study, and that was to be a preschool teacher. My dream was to have my own home daycare, which I did do, which was a totally different experience, and I loved it. And did that for about 4 years. But for the majority of my teaching, it's been in different settings. So one at my church, another one at a YMCA now, and then one that was at another YMCA, but it was for women only. That was actually my first job. So some of it was with my church, it was obviously religious, and the other ones were not. And then I also volunteered at my church to do the Sunday school teaching as well, every other week. And I just love it. I just knew I had the passion for little ones. And to be honest, it probably was because I was very shy and afraid of the bigger people, the adults. So that's probably why I went into that field. As my years of teaching went on, it was a lot easier because I got used to being around the parents, because you definitely have to get involved in talking with them, and it worked out. And it's now there's no problem with me talking with the adults, and I have fun, and the kids are just wonderful. If you love kids, this is the job to do it, because you get to just play, and it's so much fun.
It's amazing too how our life experiences and even our childhood play a role in wanting to be a teacher and just following that path. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I am Diane Antonelli, and I've been teaching just shy, I think, about 20 years. I'm at Kids by the Sea, a little preschool in Encinitas right now, and I've been there for about, I think this is going on my 4th year. And it's very sweet little preschool. It's great. I think what drew me to teaching, I always knew I wanted to do something with children. I wasn't, quite sure what, but I love being around kids. I think maybe because I'm the youngest, and then I always wanted someone younger than me to have. So I started out in college with elementary education. I thought I really wanted to go into elementary ed with the younger grades, and I right after college graduation, I moved to Germany, and I got a job right away at the Child Development Center on one of the bases there, and I instantly fell in love with the preschool, and then I knew it was like coming home, and I knew that's where I just wanted to be. So that's my story.
Wonderful. Thank you. I had no idea you worked in Germany.
Yeah.
I did, and I bounced around. I did work at the Child Development Center. I actually worked at the school age service with the middle school, and I also then went on to the high school, like after school program. So I kind of bounced around with all the ages, but I really, once I was in that Child Development Center, I knew that was my home, and that's where I wanted to be. So, and I never looked back.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Thank you. So how do you think your teaching has progressed through your experience? You all have, long, extensive, and varying experiences with working with young children. How has it changed?
It has changed tremendously. Oh my gosh, with all the years that I've had, I wish I would have known what I know now way back when, because what I did was wrong. Well, at least now I look at it that way. The kids were still great, and they all turned out great too, but I would have done things a lot differently. So do you want me to go into detail on that part of it?
Yeah, why don't you give us an example?
Okay, so when I first started teaching, I used to prepare all the artwork. So I would cut out 50 fish, and then I would cut out, 15 bowls, and cut out all the decorations that would go inside this aquarium. And then I would give it to the kids and says, okay, we're gonna make an aquarium, here we go. And you can glue it on. Well, so the kids are, putting their fish in and gluing it on, and one was outside the bowl. I go, oh, no, that goes inside the bowl. The fish doesn't live outside the bowl. It goes right here. And I'd be pointing right where it goes. So that was my beginning. And I also used a lot of worksheets, coloring sheets, and this was with 3-year-olds. So
Wow.
and that was really before education. So after my education and a lot of training through, over the years, I found out, oh, this is not the way that we do things. That was just a small part. There's other things that I did too, but now everything is open-ended. I teach the kids how to use tools, how to cut, how to trace out of stencils. If they want a fish, they'll get the fish stencil and they'll trace it out themselves. They'll cut it themselves, and it's okay the way that it looks. And then they would do what they want to do with it. It may not go in a fish bowl. Maybe they were going to make a fishing rod that has the fish that they're going to be fishing with. So it was their ideas and not my idea. And that's the way that I teach now. It's very child directed instead of teacher directed. It's on their interest, and I'm finding out that when they're interested in it, they are more engaged and they learn more, and it's a lot more fun and less work really on the teacher, because you don't have to cut out everything. They do it. That's just one little smidgen of change. A lot of other changes too, but I'll let the other ladies talk about other changes.
Well, I just think, I look back, I almost can't remember 30 years ago. But yeah, oh my goodness, so much change. I think teaching is really trial and error, basically. I mean, You definitely learn quickly what works and what doesn't work.
Yes.
But I definitely I kind of agree with Virginia. Yeah, the art was definitely our idea, how we wanted it to look, and definitely want to please parents. And now it's more, it's for the kids and how they want to do it, and very much more open-ended. And they come up with so many good ideas. I
Oh.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm just amazed at what they think of. I'm just like, wow, that's such a great idea. And like Virginia said too, it makes it a little bit easier on the teacher. So yeah, that whole approach has changed. I think I've become a lot more patient. At first I kept thinking, well, you've got to sit in a circle and you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to listen, and it was very, very, rigid, and I've just kind of let it go
Yeah.
and learn different strategies for circle time that, engage the children. I think, and I say this a lot, but I really feel it's something that is beneficial because I'm hard on myself. And I just discovered, I guess, as I got older and I was more comfortable in my own skin, and I knew I wasn't going to please everybody, and I just decided that, well, if I make a mistake, it's okay. It's okay
Yeah.
to make a mistake. It's okay for the children to see that you've made a mistake.
Mhm.
And just own it and just say, wow, Miss Hollister, I blew it, kind of, really, and if they ask a question I know the answer to, which these kids are so smart these days. You know what I think has changed the most, T, over the 30 years I've been teaching is the parents and how they are raising the children. And I think it's kind of gone toward they're enabling the kids a little bit more. I don't think there's as much I don't know, not discipline, but I don't think there's a lot of boundaries in households these days. I think they're pretty much whatever they want to do is they can do, and so we get the result of that in the classroom. I think that's really changed the whole way parenting has changed over the years. Yeah, it's become a little bit very liberal over the years. So I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but
I
yeah.
think with technology, because of technology,
Hmm.
the parents are doing less parenting and
Right.
giving the technology to the kids for more babysitting. So that's where they're not learning the correct way of,
Right.
how
Yeah.
do you respond to people and the attention span. I see a lot of changes in that, which is, it's kind of scary
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way things has gone.
I think I'm right along with Melanie and Virginia in the beginning, and the kind of the cookie cutter type of curriculum, and just kind of, and like Melanie said, you want to please the parents and you're making everyone happy, and you really just, and Melanie said too, like you really just want to please everyone, and you don't give yourself that forgiveness, and it's hard starting out as a teacher, and jumping in the classroom that first time. So I think as I progressed, as the years went on, I kind of had self-realization, or more of open mind, and I thought, if this, I don't know if this style is really for me. I went and took some more child development classes, and I learned different theories, and I learned different um, ideas or approaches to curriculum. So I really just tried to push myself and tried to learn new things and new methods and theories. And then when luckily I came to MiraCosta, and that was a huge eye opener for me. And I learned so many valuable ideas and things in the classroom, and I met, and again, networking with people. And then I found what I really love, and the type of teaching that is true to me. So I think that's how I progressed all along, just kind of having that open-mindedness and self-realization that Melanie said it too, you have to be happy, right, in the classroom, and believe in what you're teaching, and because then your kids will benefit from it, and they'll be excited to be, you're excited to be in the classroom, and they're going to be excited to be in the classroom, and the kids are happy, parents are happy, administration's
Yeah.
happy. So that's how I kind of moved along. So it took a while. It took a it took a while to get that and to get to that point. But again, I think it just comes with the experience and kind of getting through those first couple of years
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough, but so rewarding and worthwhile. And that's what I love about the mentor program too. That's why we're here for the new coming teachers, and we're passing the torch, and we want you to be successful and enjoy your classroom.
Thank you. One thing that I'm finding in common, we all start the same way. I'm
Mhm.
going a little off script here. So we all tried the cookie cutter curriculum. We all have done the cutting out of, all art project type crafty things and just laid it on the table for the children to create. Why do you think we did that? What do you think our biggest influence was?
For me, it was, I didn't have the education and I just thought this is how you do it.
Didn't know any better.
Yeah, I didn't know any better. That's why I said I wish I knew what I know now way back then, because then obviously I would have chosen the way that we do it now. Because I can see that with kids, they learn better. Their creativity comes out more better, and they feel more confident about doing art, and the skills that they learn from doing it with the fine motor skills and spatial relations and all of that. And it's their idea, not my idea.
I agree. I think same thing. We didn't know or educated, and maybe that's how our experience was as in preschool or kindergarten in the first and second grades. Maybe that's we kind of went off of that, our very own experiences. So I definitely believe that having the education piece behind it for us to learn from is what changed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What stands out most to you then about children's learning? I know you've touched on it a little bit about how children are changing and have from when you started to where you are now. But is there anything that really stands out to you as far as what children are learning or how they're learning in the classroom?
Little kids are like sponges. It always amazes me how much information they can take in and retain. They're always reminding me of what things that we have talked about. So their little minds are just amazing to me. And the things that they say is just incredible.
I
It
think
keeps me happy,
I think kids, what I just love about this age and these kids is they're just so honest. They're brutally honest, actually. So open and free of, they're not biased. They're totally unbiased. They don't have all the hangups that adults have with different things. And they're just so curious. And I love their curiosity and their openness. They're just like Virginia says, they're just like little sponges. They just want to soak it in as much as possible. And just to be sitting there in circle reading a story to the kids and to see their eyes or, how they respond to certain things. We're so not boring to us, but it's just so, okay, well, we know this. And they're just so new to them. And we have to just kind of stand back and see things through their eyes. And I think, I try to do that to kind of see how they're perceiving this. But I feel like sometimes I think like a preschooler. So I have a little example of that. So I do bios of the kids every year. And so I asked this little girl one year, I said, one of the questions is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she says, I want to be gum. And I said, gum? I said, mean like the gum you chew, that kind of gum? And she goes, yes, I want to be gum. I'm thinking like she's thinking, and I talked to the mom about it. I said, I think she probably is telling me that when she grows up, she'll be allowed to chew gum. But I mean, it took me to get into like a preschool's mindset to really figure out what she meant when she said she wants to be gum when she grew up. But, I mean, I think we all just kind of take on that role. We have to, to kind of be on their level and be able to really communicate with them. So I could write a book. I just feel like, the things these kids say are just so precious. But anyway.
I love the light bulb moments. And especially in the toddler room, there's light bulb moments all over, but I just love when they finally make that connection with something. And one example is we have the Pickler triangle, and it's it's like a wooden structure that's in the shape of a triangle, and it has like the rungs. And so they'll start off growing on one side, and they're like, oh, they can't kind of figure out how to get that leg over and go down the other side, so they go back. And then next time they go back up and they get one leg over and they're like, oh, I don't know how to get the other leg over. So they go back down and they try again. And then finally they figure it out and get the both legs over and they go down the other side and they're like, oh, I did it. And it's just, I love those reactions. And I love when it just, you know, you're like, oh, I'm doing the right thing, you know, and I'm in the right field. And I try not to intervene so much in those moments too, so they can really enjoy those genuine, true moments for themselves, right? Like they got that, they can really feel that pride and that accomplishment. So I love moments like that and watching it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll sum up with one last question or prompt is, what one piece of advice would you offer the next future teacher?
Be flexible. I think that's, you know, you just have to go with the flow, because you never know what the flow is going to bring.
Yeah.
And what I said earlier is just don't be afraid to make mistakes, you know,
Exactly.
and because you're going to make them. That's just the way it is. And that's the best way to learn how not to do it the next time, for sure. But yeah, just be flexible, and, you know, above all, have fun. Just have fun, because it's fun.
I agree with you, Melanie. That would have been one of my advice, but don't be afraid, and it's okay to make mistakes. And that's how you learn, and you just move on from that. And then one of the things that I've always told my mentees is try to make connections with the kids first before starting to discipline. Make connections and, you know, have fun playing with them. And once you have that and they feel safe with you, then they're ready to learn from you. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I found. You know, I make connections, especially with my hard kiddos, and they listen better. So to me, you know, those connections are important.
I agree with you. I agree with what Melanie said in Virginia. I wrote down a couple because I couldn't just choose one thing. But just to have patience, understanding, be flexible, like Melanie said, some humility and forgiveness. And I was thinking not just only with your fellow co-teachers and your administration and your parents and your kiddos, but especially with yourself. And as a teacher, just having those kind of core things, just it's okay to, like the Melanie and Virginia said, it's okay to make mistakes. You have another chance the next day. And, you know, forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. And have patience with the kiddos, form those relationships like Virginia said, because that really is a valuable tool to have, and they will, you know, respecting them as little humans, and they're going to respect you as the big human.
Great advice, Diane.
Absolutely. All of you gave such wonderful advice. And I thank you so much for our time and just for giving to our future teachers and students. And I thank the students for watching. I hope you all have a great day.